Hi, welcome to the Morton Matchday Programme.
Controlling it, firing it in! What a goal that is for Morton! Outstanding striking!
Coming up in today's show, we'll be hearing from the gaffer ahead of the game against Arbroath this weekend. There's also a special interview with the CEO of Erskine Veterans Charity. There's the return of the My Morton feature and a chat with club director Ross Gourdie. Iain Wilson will be doing our pre-match player interview, and if that's not enough for you, we go out with a classic game against the Red Lichties. Before all that, of course, it's Dougie.
Gaffer, first of all, how's the reaction been to last week's match, and how's the analysis since then and the preparation now for tomorrow?
Yeah, the reaction's been very good. I would expect that we scoring a last minute equaliser. I think the outcome would have been different if we'd not managed to do that, but I thought the response for the players on the aftermath of the result at home against St Johnstone was excellent. On another day we could have won the game. We had plenty of opportunities. Rafe Rovers throwing a lot of bodies in the line, blocking shots, certainly second half. I don't think first half there was much in the game. Obviously the goal we could do better with. We've spoken about that at length through the analysis. We could do better with the clearance, we could do better with picking up the clearance, we can do better to stop the cross, we can do better to stop the movement in the box. But again, a lot of goals come from different sources, Gareth, and that was the outcome again, away at starts last week when we conceded the goal in the first half. You give Jack Hamilton that sort of service and you know what the outcome is. So that disappointed me because we pinpointed that leading up to the game that he would be a big threat for him in the box if we don't get close to him and don't stop crosses. But I think the reaction from there was very good. Jimmy makes a good save second half. But apart from that, I thought it was one-way traffic. I know the elements of the game weren't great in terms of the weather, etc., but I thought we dealt with them really, really well. And to come away with a points, like I say, a good point in any day. But on the aftermath of the week previous against St Johnstone, I think it was a good point all in.
And I suppose when it comes to personal reactions as well, Chris spoke after the game about how he obviously wasn't pleased with the way the goal was conceded, but for him to come back and get the equaliser like that, it will obviously give him a lot of confidence. Yeah,
and that's the right way to respond. I said that at half time. He's a young lad finding his feet up in Scotland, his first season in men's football as well. I think he's done really well for us, albeit he's missed the last 6-7 games with his head injury he received against our opponents tomorrow, so he's back in, and I said to them at half time just to calm down and relax, and we had the chat with Chris to say, listen, the only way to redeem that is go and make an impact. And like I say, his first goal in senior football as well, so credit to Chris and credit to the rest of the players. I thought second half they really dug in for for myself first and foremost, and the club and each other.
And looking at tomorrow's opponents, a team that are obviously in good form right now and a good position in the league, what do you expect from this match?
Yeah, I expect a lot from Arbroath. I think Gourdie and Chris have done a great job. But they're fighting for every point. They're there for a reason, because they get into every game with an attitude to go and hunt and press and make you defend. And like I say, you've got to give them the utmost respect. They've already beaten the league leaders on their own patch, and their result last week is no surprise to myself. They're a good team. They've got good players that can hurt you. Albeit the game we played them up there, could we have came away with the win? Of course we could have. On another day, but second half again we were excellent, but we just couldn't get that second goal. But I expect a lot from Arbroath. Like I say, they'll make us defend. They're very energetic, top end of the pitch. They've got good players. Taylor Stevens come into a bit of form. They're switching between Todoroff and Gavin Riley. They've got good players, like I say, it can hurt you, and we need to be ready for it.
You mentioned obviously up there against them at Gayfield, it was the second half performance, unlucky to not come away with more. Do you feel it's just a bit maybe trying to translate that second half performance into the full match? Yeah,
a lot of our better play this season has came second half performances, Gareth. And that's the bit that kind of disappoints me a little bit. We were renowned for first half performances in seasons gone by, where we started games really quickly, got our goal, got the fans behind us, and then we went and seen out games. But at the moment, like I say, we know too many draws. We want to be winning games, but again, like I said to the players this afternoon, the league's so tight. You know, it's a 2-game swing. You win 2 games in the bounce, you're back up into top 4. You lose 2 games in the bounce, everybody thinks it's the end of the world. That's just the nature of this division. But for us, it's about focus. Keep doing what we've been asking. Keep going for that goal that we all want. And then, like I say, if we can turn into 3 draws into 3 wins, then the tide turns and you start to build in confidence. But like I say, there's no easy game in this division.
And I know you spoke about it after the match on Saturday, but how important is it going to be tomorrow to try and really use that home advantage?
Listen, your home form's the main ingredient of any good season, and it's no different here. You know, we want to win every game here. We know we've played 6 games at home and we've only picked up, I think, 4 draws, 2 defeats, so we've not won a game at home, and we need to change that quickly, and hopefully that's tomorrow. You know, we want the fans to come, get behind the group, and then go away home happy with 2 or 3 goals and 3 points. So that's the aim. But like I say, no game's easy in this division, Gareth. You have to give everything. There's no easy game, and like I say, you've got to give a lot of respect to Arbroath. They're sitting in 3rd position for a reason.
And just finally, how is the squad shaping up, availability?
Yeah, there's a few missing. You know, we've got 2 or 3 knocks in the group, so there'll be opportunities for players tomorrow to get a run in the team, and it's up to them to take it. So yeah, we're missing 2 or 3 key players, but like I say, it gives other people an opportunity to come in and stake their claim and show me show me why they should be playing in the team.
Dougie Imrie, honest and candid as always. Now this weekend, of course, is Remembrance Weekend, and to mark the occasion, Gareth went up to Erskine Veterans Charity to talk to the CEO, Wing Commander Iain Cummings. Here's that piece now.
When Erskine goes back to 1916, we were originally created as a result of Scotland's empathetic and instantaneous response at seeing her sons physically and mentally shattered in trench warfare and in the high seas. Originally, we were a surgical hospital where we offered life-saving surgery, rehabilitation, and then training so that the veterans could find their way in civilian life and in meaningful employment. Over the years, we've built accommodation for those who weren't going to be able to live outside. We've created this Veterans Village. And now we're best known for our nursing care here on the West Coast and in Edinburgh. But the reality is we've always delivered care, accommodation and community support to help veterans thrive in their post-service life. I mentioned the nursing homes. We've got 180 bedroom nursing home here in Gilmerton and a 40-bedroom equivalent across in Edinburgh. And we're really proud of the compassionate care that we're able to deliver for veterans in later life despite complex health conditions and so forth. We really give them back a good quality of life and dignity. Our family accommodation's wonderful, 44 family cottages. We've also got transition support accommodation for younger veterans whose plans for civilian life came off the rails. Bad luck, bad timing, perhaps some mental health issues and so forth. So we support them for between 6 months and 2 years with caseworkers in an ensuite apartment, which is all theirs, very affordable, to depressurise their situation, help them plan better for striding out again. And we also have a community activity centre for the veterans. We call them Erskine Veterans Activity Centres, or EVACs. So we get people evacuated when they're feeling lonely and isolated. They come down to the centre, get involved in meaningful activity, woodworking, using the gym, pottery, painting. There's a relaxation and talking therapist there. We do music making, take them rambling. They come for different reasons, but the reality is that when they all sit down, have lunch together and break bread, the power of the veterans is really unlocked. And that's been really important. One supplementary service that we also run is support at home, because we found some of our veterans who might live 20 or 30 miles away from the Veterans Activity Centre. Their own circumstances isolated them somewhat, and we decided to go to them and reach out with rostered staff who go in with a friendly face, help out around the house, help them get out and about, a little bit of supported exercise, going out shopping, visits to the GP, visits to their own family, or indeed visits to the activity centre itself. And that's really, really empowering. So we've got a real holistic blend of services. We're the only charity in Scotland that's currently delivering hands-on care, accommodation and community support that's relevant to veterans of every age and life stage. And our plans are to reach across Scotland with more veterans activity centres and more support at home services. And that's why support from partners like Green at Morton is so important to us. It actually came about as a result of Green at Morton's proactivity. It was Ross Gourdie that reached out to us. He's obviously based in America and he's a former Royal Air Force serviceman himself. He holds Erskine and the work it does in very high regard. And he offered to start a conversation with us about how they could, Green at Morton could actually support us. So we've done lots of work. We obviously have the Erskine brand on the away strip, which is great because although supporters on the West Coast, supporters of Green at Morton, supporters of Erskine know about us, the further east you go, the further north and south you go, we don't have that brand penetration. So having Green at Morton out there representing us at away games is incredibly powerful. We've also had bucket collections on our behalf, and our veteran residents here get invited along to some of the matches, which is spectacular because feeling part of the community, regardless of living in a nursing home, albeit a lovely nursing home, you know, is just really important. Remembrance takes many forms, and one of the important parts of it is just recognition of people's sacrifice or certainly willingness to potentially risk their health, well-being and indeed their lives to defend their country. And so that opportunity for recognition in public with people cheering and pictures being taken is life-affirming. You know, it reminds the veterans that they are respected and acknowledged, and they come back buzzing, they really do.
Our thanks to Iain Cummings there. That is an excellent partnership between Erskine Veterans Charity and, of course, Green at Morton. Ross Gourdie, Morton director, actually flew with the RAF, and we'll be hearing from him just a little bit later on. Before that, though, we go back to a feature that got some tremendous feedback when we put it out the last time, and that is My Morton.
I'm Margaret Bryce. My first ever Morton game, I was 6 weeks old, so I have absolutely no recollection of it. My dad was a massive Morton fan, and we stayed literally just along the road, Anno Clark's garage. He was going to the game on the Saturday, and my mum wasn't keeping too great, so she said if he was going to the game, he was having to take me and my brother, who was 2, with him, which wasn't a problem for him. I get wrapped in a blanket, my brother get put in a buggy, and away we went to Cappielow, because he wasn't missing it for anything. But my first official game was my 16th birthday. My friend's dad had got his tickets. There was just remember a pipe band being playing on the day, and we ended up sitting in the dugout with the pipe band watching the game. We beat Celtic 1-0 that day, which I was absolutely delighted about because my brother's a Celtic fan and he never came home that night. So that was my first ever Morton game that I remember being at. My favourite all-time player, I think, it's a difficult one, but I was a big fan of Stuart Grecian. A no-nonsense defender, and one of my lasting memories of Stuart was clearing a ball, clearing his lines with his head when he was literally about a foot off the ground. He's actually a really nice guy as well. I've met him a couple of times and he's a really nice big guy, but I thought he was a great captain for the team and a great leader at the time. So my most memorable Morton game has to be when we played Celtic at Parkhead. Dougie scored a penalty to make it 1-0 after Big Effie made a mess of it. It's a game I'll always remember. First time ever at Parkhead, and it's a game I'll always remember. Also, another game that sticks in my head for totally different reasons was away to Hamilton, and we get beat 10-2. It's probably the worst performance I've ever seen in my life. Worst Morton performance anyway. My favourite current player, I would say, is Iain Wilson. I think he's a very versatile player. He does a lot of work in Midley Park, which sometimes goes unnoticed. I think he's quite underrated at Cappielow, but I like his work effort. I like the effort he puts in week after week.
Ross, thanks for joining us today. I suppose just from a starting point, you obviously spent 9 years of your life in the RAF.
Yeah.
How did that experience shape your early life?
Oh, looking back, Gareth, it was a big part of my life. I joined the Royal Air Force straight after high school. I was 17 and a half or so, and I made that decision. It was something I've always interested in at the time. I thought I didn't want to work an office job. I enjoyed my sports, I enjoyed a bit of travelling, and I thought, you know what, let's do something different. The military was something I thought about. I looked at the Army, Navy and the Air Force, and I ended up in the end picking the Royal Air Force. And yeah, all of a sudden I'm on a train heading down to England. When I was 17 and a half, Mum and Dad said goodbye, and yeah, I spent the next 9.5 years doing that. And at the time you don't realise how much effect it has in your life. It's a huge influence. You don't really notice it. You do your day-to-day stuff, but it's not till you come out and you leave the military, you leave the Royal Air Force, you're thinking, oh, that was good, I enjoyed it. You moan about it at the time, don't get me wrong. At the time you hate getting shouted at, you hate getting a kick up the backside or whatever. And you're working long hours, you're working in some horrible outdoor conditions, but looking back on it, it was a lot of good fun, a lot of good memories, and yeah, I'm glad I done it.
And now, in your current position of CEO at Premier Air Charter as well, how have you taken the time with the RAF and those experiences and taking that into your current role?
Oh, I wouldn't be sat here. I wouldn't be involved in that if it wasn't for my time in the Air Force. Because yeah, when I joined the Air Force, I was involved in aircraft engineering. I've done that ever since. I've been involved in aircraft maintenance basically from day one, and that took us into my new position at Premier Air Charter, which is just a private aircraft business out in California. And myself and a couple of other business partners, we got together and we've grown that business. But yeah, my time in the military had a big effect on that. You meet some great characters in the military, and that sort of moulds you into who you are. You know, you get a sergeant major type guy who's going to scream and shout at you, or you've maybe got a quiet officer type person, and you kind of blend that into who you are as a manager and how you run a business. So yeah, the military had a massive effect on the way I run my business right now. And yeah, even in life, yeah, as I say, I wouldn't be sat here if it wasn't for my time in the military and how it affects my current business. And
I suppose not just in terms of a business point of view and for yourself, but it also has an impact on your family as well. I guess it was a bit of a no-brainer when the suggestion was made to have Erskine on the front of the kit.
Oh yeah. Sam Robinson, myself and Sam got together and we thought, especially when Dalrada was involved, I represent Dalrada on the board, and we thought, you know what, let's make a donation to some sort of charity at the same time. And myself and Sam got some ideas together, and we thought the military's a big influence on my life. The military's also a big influence on Brian Bonner's life as well. And we thought, you know what, Erskine is a perfect choice. We can make a donation. And the idea came up, why don't we donate the front of the second team jersey, the away jersey? And we approached Erskine, they were all for it. I went up and met with them. I've been to Erskine a few times, and what they do up there is amazing, Gareth. It really is. What they've got, it's not just your older veterans, it's not just your older people that serve in the military. You've got some young folk there, you've got some guys that have served time and done some tours of Afghanistan, Iraq and wherever. So they cater for everybody in there, and it's not really a hospital. They don't like to call it a hospital. It's more of an Erskine village, and it's a great little community. And what they do there, the work they do is second to none. But yeah, what we did, we approached them. They were all for it, and they're getting the Erskine name out there. And it was good to see it on the jerseys against St Johnstone the other day, and watching Eamon Brophy score that amazing goal with him on, you know. So it was all good in the end.
And I suppose looking at your role within the club as well, you mentioned there already that you're part of the Dalrada side of things, but your main role, of course, is Director of Youth as well.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a bit more information about the decisions over the sort of past few months and the changes that have happened to the Youth Academy?
Yeah, we had to make some. Yeah, it was difficult to see a lot of difficult decisions, Gareth, in the academy. Never an easy thing, academy. It's a difficult thing to run. It's always costly. You've got to put the money in. Dalrada did make some donations to that as well. But we brought in some new characters. We brought in Gary as a new head of youth emerging talent. He's also now got in Joe McKee, ex-Morton player, and Michael O'Haran, the current Morton player. They all assist Gary in the academy now. and we had to change things. We had to maybe cut a few costs. That's never an easy decision. But now we've got Billy and also Dougie obviously making these decisions along with Gary. I can see the academy now going in a great direction. As I say, it's been difficult. Some horrible decisions had to be made. A lot of things were to do with that. Recruitment was always a problem. Recruitment for players and coaches was always a problem. So it's never an easy thing. Cost was always, you got to keep an eye on costs because they can run away from you. But yeah, it was difficult. But I think now we've got a good team in place, especially with Gary at the head of that, reporting directly to Dougie. And the coaches he's brought in, I can see bright things coming from the academy soon. So it's good. Just looking forward to it. Yeah, you mentioned bright things there. Of course, 3 young boys in amongst the first team at this moment in time. How excited are you for the year? Oh, do you know what? I'm always excited every season, to be honest. Even the pre-season, with the board meetings and we talk, Dougie gives us his targets, and we obviously have to shuffle the money around to try and make it work. But every year, every pre-season especially, we're always excited to see the season start. It's the same in the academy. You're looking forward to each age group progressing, moving up. But yeah, this year especially, we've got some amazing players coming through. We've got some current great players we've signed on good long-term deals. Eamon Brophy, another example, is a perfect example. But you know what, I'm looking forward to this season, so fingers crossed we see the team up in the top end of the championship for the majority this year and hopefully fighting for a good playoff position at least, and it should be good. Should be a good season ahead. And just finally as well, we've seen the impact that the Dorada partnership has had on the club in recent years as well. What are your hopes for that partnership and the team moving forward? Just to carry on as we are, if not even more, hopefully donations coming from that way, but also to see things changing on and off the field. We see good product on the field, but we've also got a great bunch of office staff and backroom staff as well, and bringing those right individuals in to add to the team is a great thing. So yeah, I think it's going to go from strength to strength. Dorada is here, it's going to stay here as long as I'm involved, and hopefully we see, it would be great to see more folk through the turnstiles, don't get me wrong, but if we put a good product in the park, more folk will come in. But it's a whole team effort, not just on the park but off the field as well, and I think we're getting there. We're slowly getting there to a good group of individuals all coming together, singing off the same page.
Thanks for joining us on the show as always. It wouldn't be the same without you. We go out tonight with that recent game against Arbroath, and I'm delighted to say from Margaret Bryce that her favourite player, Iain Wilson, will be doing the pre-match interview for us. It's a big weekend in the Championship, Morton against Arbroath, but equally it's a big weekend for Inverclyde Food Bank. Morton and the community will be at Cappielow on Saturday taking your donations. So get along, make your contribution, and don't forget to back Dougie and the team on Saturday. Thanks again.
Iain, it's another big game tomorrow, another tough one here at home against Arbroath. How's it been the camp ahead of this one?
We're confident going into the game. We know it's going to be a hard game. They're a team that are up the top end of the league, but it's definitely a game we think we can win.
We saw the reaction from the boys last week, not just to show an improved performance in the St Johnstone game, but to come and get that equaliser as late on. You know, how important is it to try and build on that now?
Yeah, it's definitely something to build on. I think it was a fair result that we got the draw. I don't think we deserved to get beat, so it was a great late equaliser and hope we can build on that. You mentioned there a fair result getting the draw, but just looking back at the match overall, how would you reflect on it? I don't think there was too much in the game, to be honest, but as I say, I think we'd have been hard done by to get beat, so it's good we can get a point.
Arbroath, of course, a team on a good run of form at the moment, find themselves in a good position in the table. What challenge are you expecting from them tomorrow?
Yeah, they're a good team. I think every year they've been in the Championship, they've been competitive up near the top end, so they're definitely a good team, but hopefully we can take the game to them tomorrow. And
it always seems to be a team that's quite tough to break down as well. Are you expecting the same tomorrow?
Yeah, as I say, they're a solid team. They always are when we play against them, so it's definitely be a challenging game.
You've of course just had the team meeting ahead of tomorrow's game as well. What's the message been from the gaffer and the rest of the management team?
I think just to try and get after them and take the game to Arbroath, but obviously knowing that they're a good team that can punish you if you're not on it and you're there.
And last time out against Arbroath, it was another match where the team showed the real resilience. Jackson, of course, popping up late on to get that equaliser. What can you take from that one?
I think it was another important equaliser. I thought we played fairly well that day up there. It's a hard place to go to, so it was definitely a good point. And
of course, coming back home here tomorrow, I think the gaffer spoke about it after last week's game as well, but still aiming to get that first home win of the season. How together are the boys at the moment to try and achieve that?
Not very together. We're obviously hoping to do that tomorrow. but definitely need to start winning more games at home. We'll probably drew too many this season.
Goal scorer for Morton, number 9, Dougie Imrie.
Take a chance! Hey, you! Gamble!
Goal scorer for Morton, number 22, George Dougie. Goal number 3 for Morton, and it's number 21, Grant Gillespie. For today's attendance, 1,802, 1,802. Thank you for